So how to prepare yourself for the Swiss market? So once you have your resume built and you're happy with how it came out, and you have a lot of tools now that you can use. Some of them are completely free, like Word. So if you go in Word, you have a lot of templates. I use Canva as well. So all these are resources where you can build a resume. You also have tools now where you can input the information and it comes out completely ready-made. And it's called resume.io. So all these links basically I could also post below so that you can look through. I will post below later today after the presentation so that you have all these links and you can use them. So key figures about the Swiss market. So 73.8% of employees work in services in Switzerland. So that's really something that's important to know, because sometimes people have a very wrong idea of the kind of work that they can find. And if you're more of an industry person or agriculture type of person, this is not necessarily where you will find a lot of opportunities. So it's really a white collar, to put it bluntly. I mean, it's a white collar country, mostly a lot of insurance, a lot of financial services, all these things. And I will talk a little more about the hot markets of the moment in Switzerland. So the other things I wanted to mention as well is no minimum wage in Switzerland. So that's important, because if you're working in Switzerland, you basically have to look at the cost of living. I mean, if you have a minimum wage in a country, chances are that it's already set up so that you can survive on it with the cost of living. If there's no minimum wage and you're not doing your research to find out how much you need to survive in Switzerland, you may accept offers that are going to be hard for you to sustain afterwards. Because remember that something you may find very attractive is not going to be so attractive after you have to deal with cost of living. So that's why you have to always compare it to, well, how much does it cost to rent a flat? How much does it cost to eat, to go to the restaurant, to pay for things, and you have to include that so that you understand how much money you need to survive. Just saying. Swiss full-time workers log average 41.7 hours a week. So I would say that's fairly standard in most countries. The Swiss Code of Obligations, I really recommend that you check it out. You don't have to learn it by heart, but it's to see also if Switzerland is a country where, would be right for you if you're considering it, or if you're already in Switzerland. What are my rights, by the way, in terms of medical leave, maternity leave, all those things. I think that if you're going to work in a country as an employee, you need to be aware of all these things so that you can prepare. Same thing, preparing and being more autonomous. So my source is admin.ch. You have a lot of information there, and you have some information in English as well. So this is part of doing your research in depth to understand a little bit what you're dealing with. Now we get to the part that I think a lot of people are really curious about. It's, where are the jobs? What should I be doing? Or, where is it hiring? So to me, that's becoming essential in 2020, because let's face it, before, in my time, for example, you would go to school and you just needed a degree. You just needed to have completed an education, and it didn't really matter in which type of subject. You just wanted to have an education. Now the subject is important, because the subjects that are really in demand tend to be very technical. So it's not something that you can produce immediately for an employer without having the proper training. So, so the jobs are getting definitely more technical, more challenging, because remember, most of the jobs that were easy, so to say, or basic, whatever you want to call them, they will be replaced by machines. So the person who could do a full career being a secretary, for example, not that I'm looking bad on secretaries, but people who had jobs just doing those repetitive things, or the basic accounting, or those things, those jobs are going to be eliminated because they can be easily automated. And you see it already around you. I mean, a lot of the things that a couple of years ago, you would have a human being, now it's all self-service or automated. So the jobs that are going to be recruiting are jobs that you need a human, because it's a little bit complex and you can't train a machine to do it yet. So if you're thinking about what kind of work should I do, try to find something that's a little bit technical that can be done immediately by a machine. So I'm giving you 5 areas of growth in Switzerland where there's needs, where it's recruiting. If you look at job boards, you can find a lot of vacancies. So the first one, that's really the hottest one in my view, is tech, engineering, IT, big data, and web security. So people who are going towards those fields, we'll call it tech to make it more generic. So people who are going towards tech and those big data and web security and all that, there's lots of demand because most of the businesses are digital now. So when you have a digital business, then you need web security, then you need someone who's doing data analysis and all that. So this is the hot market for you. It's the first one. Second one is international organization, development, NGOs. That's more the not-for-profit sector, we'll call it. So if you're a not-for-profit type of profile, or you could easily switch to that. Let's say you worked in support positions, but because the private sector will need those that much, they still need them in the not-for-profit world. So it's not as automated yet. So, so in international organizations, they still need a lot of, support positions like HR and finance. The ones I put at the bottom, they're not really in demand in private sector, but in the not-for-profit sector, you may find that there's a few opportunities here and there. So that's really a way to get a job. Also for non-EU profiles, it's something to look at. The third one is pharma. So pharma and biopharma are really, really in demand right now, especially biopharma. A lot of startups now are emerging. Switzerland is trying to be the biopharma hub, so as well as the blockchain hub. So I didn't put blockchain there, but it would be number 1, tech basically. Number 4, accounting. So all your accountants basically would be people that are experts in accounting. So in other words, it's not the assistant accounting, but experts like CPAs, can't find of the equivalent necessarily of CPA, because I think there's different acronyms like ACA or all those things, but a certified type of accountant. Supply chain and logistics. So these would be the people that deal with all this organization of transfer of goods and everything. You think about Amazon and what's behind Amazon, it's huge. So you need to have someone think about those processes as well. So that's the number 5 for me area of growth. But now if you're a corporate type of person, corporate lawyer, corporate HR, all those things, especially mid-management, those jobs are getting crunched a little bit. And I was just doing a quick screening through the English-speaking jobs because, again, I figure most of you are looking for the English-speaking community. There's not going to be a lot of functional jobs, what I call functional jobs or middle management or, corporate jobs. They're mostly here. They're mostly in those 2 first areas if you look at the English-speaking jobs. So it's something you need to be aware of because that's going to determine your potential to get a job in Switzerland. Obviously, if you're not in those sectors, it takes a little bit more of a push. I will talk about networking to be able to access the few jobs that will be remaining in those corporate jobs because they're still there. And obviously, you can still find them, but there's less of them. So it means when basically the way it works in the market, if there's a lot of jobs in one area, that means less work for you because there's such a need that as soon as you send your resume, they'll pick you up. Even if you have typos, even if it's not perfect, they're just so in demand that they'll pick it up. Now, if you're in a market where there's not a lot of demand, you can still find a job, but you're going to have to work twice as hard to find those opportunities because they're hidden or there's just not many. So it's not easy. So I have some client testimonials. If you want to go on my YouTube videos, Isabel Litzler, my website is also isabellitzler.com. So you can find this out. So on my website, I have a lot of clients who share their experience. So some of the services and solutions that I provide for expats. So I'll talk about the course because someone mentioned about listing of companies. So the first thing I offer is a course where people can learn about how to grow a career and build a network in Switzerland in 12 weeks. And by the way, someone has done it. She's also in my YouTube channel sharing her expertise and experience about how she did it using the tools that I've provided, especially networking to get a job offer. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to do this course and follow the advice that's in this course and use the tools to find a job. So it's in 3 stages. First stage is how to get started, basically build up your profile, know what you want, build up your application. So I go much more in depth, obviously, because it's a full course. And go full in depth in the course, building your application. And finally, the last part is how do you leverage your network to get a job? So that's online, 100% self-study. I have another course for solopreneur. People want to get started on their consultancy in Switzerland. So I give also resources on how to get started, how to find clients, how to use the social media, etc. So that's also self-study. Now, Careerpreneur is my newcomer in my services, and I will talk about it because I'm very excited about it. So I will show you a bit more about Careerpreneur, which is an online group where people share and work together to achieve their objectives of finding a job or changing jobs or improving their career, basically. And then the rest is other services. So on the right, you have my one-to-one packages. If you're looking for someone who's really going to work with you every week. So my packages, Career Changers and Executive Fast Track, are one-to-one weekly. We have meetups online, and I'm really going to be behind you and helping you achieve your objectives. So basically, the Swiss Job Challenge or the Solopreneur, you do everything on your own with the online course. If you want to work with it, if you work to work on it with me, then it's the one-to-one coaching program. And I can talk more about that as well if you wanted to learn more. And resume writing, that's very standard. If people say, I just want to delegate this part and have someone work on my resume, I give you a quote based on your experience and what needs to be done, and that's it. So Careerpreneur is my newcomer. It's very dear to me. That's why I have the photo in the background, because it's my baby, basically. It's born 2 months ago. And Careerpreneur really started after observing. Now I've worked for expats for many years, since 2010. So it's been 10 years already. And whether I was working in a consultancy firm or now since I have my business in 2015, I realized that it's tough to be motivated on your own, especially if you're isolated, you don't know a lot of people. And even if you have the how, trying to put yourself in motion, I find is easier when you have people around you that are also motivating you. So I'm making people work in groups with a buddy system, so that there's this connection between two people that exchange, and there's always, that's how you improve and you're motivated, because you have someone that's helping you get to the next stage. I have guest speakers who come and talk about their expertise in Switzerland. I'm sharing also a lot of events that are happening online or offline in Switzerland, so it helps you with networking. So there's lots of materials there for you to really learn and grow and improve, basically. So that's a membership. So for 27 francs per month, you can join this group and get all this information and get connected to all the other expats who are looking for the same thing as you, or it's the same mindset, rather, not necessarily the same jobs as you, but they're all people who are new to Switzerland or don't really know many people and want to move forward, basically. So I wanted to show you a little bit of the community. So there's group assignments. So on August 3rd, which is next week, people will have to show, okay, what have I done, in terms of networking, what are the results? And they will talk in front of everybody. So there's some accountability there. We have Q&As on human resources. I invite people that are already have a career in Switzerland, like Ketaki that you see on the right-hand side. She's been working in Switzerland for large companies. She knows what's needed to be successful. So I invite people like this who are, in the spirit of sharing and helping others succeed as well. So that's the goal of the group, is to get your understanding of the Swiss market more in depth and really go a little bit of step aside. So some of the results already after 2 months in the group, what was reported to me, because I keep asking the group how it's going, definitely an increase in self-confidence. We had a speaker who came and talked about self-confidence. So, and that's a big part of why people are not approaching a network, is lack of self-confidence. growth in online network already, in motivation to connect with more people, because once you start having a bit of a results, then you say, oh, okay, maybe this is working. One person started an article in her field, so because I encourage to build something, whether it's a video or a blog or what have you, so she's motivated to start. And probably the best result now in 2 months is one person is in stage 1 of interviews, and that's a senior job in Switzerland, so a better job than what she has now, in the French part of Switzerland. So really all kinds of results out there. So it could be some things like self-confidence or growing your network, but I have one person who's really close to that, the stages of interviews. So really it works. The whole idea of working in tandems with others and getting the motivation, you do get results. That's my idea. So I will put this link also below so that you have access to it, because sometimes people are not sure, but it's on my website, isabellitzler.com, and you book a call and I can talk further about all these different things, because there's quite a big offering, and sometimes people need to see what is the right solution for them based on their profile,